Hello and welcome to the Lady Sews. As you can tell, I'm not at home. I've been in Madeira for the last 3 weeks, which has been very nice to get away from the absolutely awful weather that has been happening at home. We've had some really it's not been bad, it's been windy, but at least the sun's come out every day. Today's probably one of the warmest days. It's probably going to be about 22, 23 today. It's been 17, 18, so it was the first couple of weeks, so it was actually quite chilly the first couple of weeks. But as I say, nothing like you've had at home. I just hope that my giant onions have survived and my peppers and chilies. I'm not so worried about them because I can re-sow them, but I am worried about my onions. I did set up an irrigation system before I left, so hopefully it's worked. So this video is going to be mainly about some of the flowers that I've seen here in Madeira. It's a subtropical island belonging to Portugal off the northwest coast of Africa. It's part of an archipelago, and it's the largest of the islands that make up the archipelago. There is one other island that's inhabited called Porto Santo. I've never been there because you have to go on a ferry, and I think it's about 2.5 hours on the ferry. So I'm not a ferry person. I can fly apparently, so it must be less than 2.5 hours because he said it only took 10 minutes to fly. But we've never been. And now Madeira really doesn't have any beaches. I think it's got one or two over one of the over the east side and maybe the north side. But certainly here in Funchal, which is the capital, there aren't really any beaches. And what beaches there are tend to be pebbly anyway. Porto Santo's got golden sand, well, according to the pictures I've seen. So it is a subtropical island. It's a volcanic, so it literally comes straight out of the sea. That's why there's no beaches. The weather here at this time of the year is usually pretty nice, and in the sort of upper teens, lower 20s, and we've had a bit of rain, but it's been mainly at night, and it's actually been really nice to be away, as I say, from some really hideous weather that I know you've had at home. So hopefully it'll start to dry up once I come back. I'll try and bring the sun back with me. By the time this comes out, I will actually be home, so no doubt this sun and sea will be a distant memory. But as I say, the purpose of this video is to really show some of the flora that grows here at this time of the year. In Madeira. It's a really good winter break place. It's about 4 hours from home by plane. They usually have quite a few cruise ships stop here. There's none in today. Often on their way either to the States if they're doing a transatlantic crossing, or if they're going down to the Canary Islands. It's a stop-off point. We've been coming here off and on for 20 years. So I know this part of Madeira fairly well. Anyway, without further ado, I'll show you the rest of the video that I've been cobbling together over the last 3 weeks, and I'll see you back in the UK. These swan neck flowers have always fascinated me. When you leave the airport, you see loads of them up on the bank. Some of the flowers have died, as you can see, but they've also got obviously new flowers to come. I just think they're so unusual, and obviously these plants down here will eventually grow the swan necks as well. I just love this bougainvillea. I just wish we could grow it in the UK, but it's just, certainly where I live in the UK, it certainly isn't warm enough. It does come in other colours. I don't know if you can see. There's some orange there, so I can zoom in a bit. Yeah, so just a bit of orange. So it does come in all sorts of different colours, but this is the colour you predominantly see at this time of the year in Madeira. I did manage to find some red. Mark was recently talking about, from Gang Gang and Peanut, whether we always end up buying too many seeds as gardeners. Well, I'm just looking at these wonderful seeds here. Do I need more seeds? No. Would they grow in the UK? Probably not. Certainly not in Yorkshire. But goodness, aren't they tempting? When we first came here, this was allotments where these buildings are now, which is such a shame. But prime real estate, I mean, there's such a shortage of land here now. I expect this is why it's so expensive. But it was really nice to see the allotments. I would have loved an opportunity to have gone and spoken to some of the people and had a look round, but I speak no Portuguese with the exception of saying thank you, despite the number of years we've been coming. But I suppose that's life. Their population is growing and they need the accommodation for that. But it was such a shame. I don't know what happened to the people, whether they were given more land or not, or whether they always knew it was just temporary. But anyway, that's what's happened there. This kitchen garden on this walk, they've got brassicas of some description, probably cabbage, and then they've got broad beans here, looking good, I must admit. I don't know what they've got growing at the end there. Maybe lemongrass, to be honest, it could be. Madeira is famous for its levadas, water channels that bring the water down from the mountains, which are used for irrigation. There was a lot of rain last night, so these are moving fairly fast. And a lot of people come to Madeira to actually walk the levadas. This one is quite an easy one, it's quite flat. Some of them up in the high mountains can be pretty hairy. But so there's all levels. But there's this path follows the levada so that they can maintain it, and as I say, it brings the water down from the mountains to the farms. And if I can find one, I'll show you. Now this is one flower I would love to be able to grow. The bird of paradise flower. It obviously flowers for a long period because there's some dead ones up there. I don't know if there's any new ones coming along, but there's that one there. I mean, they just really are such pretty flowers. But maybe one day with climate change, but probably not in my lifetime. Now this is an unusual tree. On first glance, one might think it was an avocado tree. But it is in fact a kapok tree, and when those fruits burst open, they've got a raw cotton-like substance in them, which is in fact kapok, which of course in days gone by were used for stuffing mattresses, pillows and soft toys. But it's got quite a lot of fruit on it. I've never ever seen them open, so although there might be one up there, let's see if I can zoom in on it. Now this is my favourite tree, the Brugmansia. I've got one of these myself, but nothing as magnificent as this one is. Mine's currently wrapped in fleece in the garage, having been cut back in the autumn. It's kept in a pot because they're not winter hardy. They have these most wonderful trumpet-shaped flowers, so they're often known as the angel trumpet tree. Totally poisonous. All parts of it are. Apparently in Victorian times, ladies used to sit under them in the hope that some of the pollen would drop into their tea, because it's hallucinogenic apparently. I've never tried it, so I don't know. They are pollinated by moths, so the scent at night is just amazing. They flower mainly in the spring and in the autumn, and it's to do with the difference in the night and daytime temperature. It's that triggers it to flower. So they generally don't flower in the summer. But as I say, this is really a magnificent specimen. And if I can find a photograph of mine, I will insert it for you to have a look at. Thanks very much for watching, and hope to catch you again soon. Bye for now. Bye.